Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Liana, and today I'm going to be reviewing Igneous Cosmetics. I received this cute little palette along with 7 eyeshadows. The 7th one was actually a gift with purchase for the month of May. They often have free promotions with their orders, so you just kind of have to look out for what's kind of going on. And I paid for all of these myself. When I say received, I just mean I received my order. So I just thought that we could give them a little review. I did film a tutorial for this eye look as well as one other with the shades I didn't use here. So today I used Pink Adventurine, Marigold, and Taaffeite. I'm saying that correctly. I looked it up. It's just an interesting word, and when I first saw that, I went, how do you pronounce that? But I figured it out. So yes, Igneous Cosmetics is a brand from Toronto. They are cruelty-free, and as far as I know, they are owned by just one young lady by the name of Taylor. Hello, Taylor, if you're watching this. And she's very young, actually. She's younger than I am. So for her to be doing all of this herself, that's absolutely amazing. So good for you, Taylor. She has a wide selection of eyeshadows, mattes, duochromes, shimmers on her Etsy shop. She only has an Etsy shop at the moment. Maybe one day she'll have a website. I'm not sure yet. And I don't know if you can tell here, but the shimmers and duochromes have a sort of pattern on them, and then the mattes do not. So that's how you can kind of tell which ones are which. She does have a few different sizes of these palettes. This one was $1 with the purchase of any 6 eyeshadows. And it does fit 7 pans, standard size pans, as you can see here. These are 26mm, which is standard size. And I believe she has a couple more, and she also has bundles. So she has like a rainbow bundle, one that's kind of inspired by Game of Thrones, I believe. It's called Beyond the Wall. It has like White Walker as a shade and everything like that. So she has a really good selection of eyeshadows. As I said, these are cruelty-free. I believe they are vegan. I will let you know if I'm wrong about that. So I had placed my order on May 6th. It shipped out the very next day, and then about 2 or 3 days after that, I received my order, so very, very fast. Each of the shadows is about $5.99 Canadian, so a little bit less if you're in the US, and shipping was a flat rate of $10 Canadian. So the shadows themselves are really quite affordable. The shipping is a little bit higher, but when you're an independent brand, you kind of need to make your money somehow, and I completely understand that. And she did actually send me a couple of free swatch stencils with my order, which I wasn't expecting. Let me just show you those. So Taylor has really recently come out with stencils for your swatches. So this one says I Heart Igneous, and this one is just a few different hexagons, and what you do is you would put the sticker on your arm and do your swatches just to make it look aesthetically pleasing for social media. And I don't know if you could reuse these or not. They are stickers, but still, I thought that was sweet of her to throw those in for me. So I think what I'll do first is get into the tutorials. I haven't filmed the second one yet, technically. Shh, don't tell anyone. But I just finished filming this one. There will be another one with the other shades not used. And then we'll come back here and I will talk about the quality and do some swatches for you. From my little palette here, I'm grabbing the shade Marigold, which is this mustard shade, and I'm throwing that into the crease just to blend things out through there and get a nice, lovely golden transition shade. This shade is very pigmented and has 0 problems blending out. Now I'm grabbing the shade Taaffeite, and I'm going to be putting that on the inner and outer corner of each lid. Just packing that on with a flat brush, and this is also very pigmented, but there's no fallout. And yeah, this goes on very nicely as well. I'm also taking that shade on a small blending brush and just blending it through the crease to kind of connect the two areas and kind of create that halo effect. And of course just doing the same thing on the other side, putting it on the inner and outer corners and then connecting it. I'm also going back in with the shade Marigold to kind of soften the edges of Taaffeite through the crease. Kind of have to go back and forth between the two to get a softer blend, so that's what I'm doing here. And also going back in with the big fluffy brush to blend things out. Now I'm taking the shade Pink Adventurine, and I'm also taking my Lilac Metamorphics drops and just dropping one onto the flat brush to make it wet. And I'm patting that into the center of each lid just to create a really nice focal point to each eye. And this is really pretty when it's wet. It looks really shiny and glowy. I love it. And taking a little bit more of Taaffeite just to make sure that the edges are blended between that and Pink Adventurine. I'm also just adding a little bit more Marigold just because I felt like I lost a little bit of the yellow with all of the work I did on the lid. I'm also taking Pink Adventurine on my inner corners and brow bone. And I'll be putting Taaffeite on the lower lash line, as well as Pink Adventurine in the very center of the lower lash line. I'm taking the NYX That's the Point eyeliner in Hella Fine and creating a very miniature wing on the outer corner there. And this is a very hard to control eyeliner for me. It's too liquidy, but I did my best until I made a little mistake in the outer corner of my left eye. Kind of got away from me there. Oops. Oh well. For mascara, I'm taking the Annabelle BigShow Electro mascara and just using one coat on each eye. I also just thought I'd show you what Pink Adventurine looks as a highlighter on the cheekbones. I feel like it looks really nice. It's not overly glowy, but it still offers a really nice sheen on the cheeks, so this is what it looks like, and this is also the end of the tutorial by the time that I've finished putting this on. For tutorial 2, I'm starting with the shade Pear in my crease, and just like with Marigold, I just want something nice and warm
and really vibrant in the crease, so that's what I'm doing here. This shade just has a little bit more green to it than Marigold. If you were to swatch them side by side, you'd definitely see the difference. And this shade performs and blends just as well as Marigold does. Next, I'm going in with the shade Lilac Quartz, and I'm going to be putting that in the center of the lid. Now on my right eye here, I only dipped in once with this flat brush and just kind of spread that out towards each side of the lid there. But on my left eye, somehow I ended up having to dip in 4 times, so I'm not sure if that was my fault and I didn't get enough on the brush or what happened there, but I just thought I'd let you know. And then I'm going in with African Amethyst and putting that in the outer corner of each eye, and you can see how pigmented this is. It's so vibrant. It's one of my favorite colors. You'll see me gushing about it in the review. It's a beautiful color, and again, I only dipped in once on the right eye, but I dipped in twice on the left eye, so maybe I'm just doing something wrong with the left eye. It is my worst eye. And then I'm just taking a smaller blending brush and making sure that I blend out African Amethyst properly. Next, I'm taking the shade Quartz, and I'll be popping that on the inner portion of my lid and just connecting that to Lilac Quartz. This isn't super pigmented, but it's also not unpigmented. It's just there to kind of connect everything together and make everything look nice and pretty, and it does have a really nice sheen to it, so it does look really nice when you kind of turn to the side. You'll see that nice sheen. On the lower lash line, I'm just mimicking what I did on the lid, so I'm putting Lilac Quartz sort of in the center of the lash line, and then I'll be putting African Amethyst on the outer portion. And again, I'm just kind of tidying up African Amethyst because it wasn't quite properly connected to Pear, in my opinion. I'm a perfectionist. I just wanted to make sure that it looked 100% perfect to the best of my ability. So I went back in with the blending brush, and I also deepened up Lilac Quartz a little bit more. For mascara, I'm still using the Annabelle BigShow Electro, just one coat on each eye. And again, I just want to show you what quartz looks like on the cheeks this time, so I'm putting a little bit of that on the cheekbones with my highlighting brush, and this too creates a really nice soft glow that I think looks really pretty. And this will be the end of tutorial number 2, and we'll get on with the review.
So I hope you enjoyed those 2 tutorials, one of which I haven't even filmed yet. It's from the future. So let's get into the swatches. I did put them back in here. I had them in my bigger palette, but I thought it would be easier just to have them in the actual Igneous palette to do swatches. Now, keep in mind that 2 of these shades are very fair, so they won't show up on my skin very well. Just keep that in mind. So, this first shade is Quartz. And this is, I would say, a satin finish. It's just a white satin shade. So we'll do a finger swatch and a brush swatch with 2 different brushes. So this is what it looks like on the finger. And I actually do have a little bit of concealer on my hand just because I was doing my face and I kind of like rubbed in the excess concealer. And that's actually okay because that's how I do my eyes. So I'm going to have to try and build this up a bit for you so you could maybe see it. You're not going to be able to see it. It's all along there. I told you, it's very, very fair. Maybe if I move my hand a little bit, you can see the sheen though. And I primarily bought this just to use as an inner corner and brow bone highlight. For many years, I have been using this shade that was from a Sephora birthday bundle, which doesn't even exist in their full line anymore, number one. And number two, it's not cruelty-free. And if I have transitioned to cruelty-free beauty, and I want to be able to have a cruelty-free option for you guys if I'm doing like a 100% cruelty-free look. So I thought that this would be a good option. It's also a lot smoother and less chunky than the Sephora one, if I might say. So let's do a couple of brush swatches. I'm going to use a flat brush as well as this slightly fluffier flat brush, kind of like I did with my Igneous Cosmetics review. And I do have a color switch here to make sure that the brushes are clean. So that's the flat brush swatch. Again, you're not really going to be able to see it. It's basically pointless for me to even try. So I will say with this fluffy brush, if I go like this, it does kick up some powder. You can see it a little bit better with the fluffy brush swatch, I think. Maybe. Can you? I can never tell until I edit. Editing Liana will let me know. And so that is the shade Quartz, and I have zero issues with that as a shade. The next shade is Pink Adventurine. And this, it has a slight duochrome, very, very slight. It is like a pink with a very mild peach shift, I would say. Finger swatch. And this is what's in the center of my lid right now. So that's 3 gentle swatches, like going like this, just so that you can hopefully see it on my skin. It's very, very pretty. I'm even wearing it on my cheekbones as well. It's light enough that it can definitely work that way. Next we'll do the flat brush swatch right here. It actually looks a little bit glossier with the flat brush, which is interesting. And now with the fluffy brush. With my brushes, I'm dipping in twice, just so you know. Just there. And that looks more similar to the flat brush than the finger, I would say. Now this one, it does have a little bit of trouble going on truly opaque because it is such a fair shade. I find I have to build it up quite a bit. Now today I used it wet, and even then I don't find that that helps too much. I think it is just such a pale shade that it just requires building, and that's fine. That's fine, you know? Not every shade is going to be 100% opaque, especially pale shades. Pale shades are naturally going to be less pigmented. So next I will swatch Lilac Quartz. This one is not lip safe. The other two were, and they will tell you on the back here which ones are or aren't. And so this one, I believe, is just limited edition for the month of May. You have a choice between this or Canary Diamond, I believe. It's a sort of pale yellow. So that's it there. This is like a pastel lilac. And again, I would describe this as a satin. It's not overly metallic. There. This doesn't apply 100% opaque with a brush unless it's wet. you can kind of tell here that it's less opaque than the finger swatch. When it's wet, it does darken quite a bit, though, I should mention. It's not going to look quite as pastel as that. It's not going to be super duper dark, but it is going to be darker than that. The fluffier brush applies a little bit better than the flat brush. So I'm going to take, this is a different flat brush. I don't want to get this one wet since I've been swatching with it. And I'm using my Lee Swatchier Metamorphic drops. I'm just going to drop one onto there. I don't know if you can tell here, but it is a little bit darker than it was before. And it does get a little bit more metallic that way too. You can definitely use these shadows wet, no issue. Yeah, definitely on my hand it looks darker and more metallic. I don't know how it will pick up on camera. So the next one is African Amethyst. This is again not lip safe. And this is so amazing. Oh my god. This is one swatch. One swatch. If I go over it 3 times like the others, it's so vibrant. Oh my gosh. And again, it's not really metallic. There's no glitter in any of these. No glitter. It's just so smooth. Absolutely smooth. This is what's left over on my finger. It's just beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you know how much I love purple. I'm just like in love. It's so stunning. And I used it the other day with this Wet n Wild. This is a flat concealer brush, or a small concealer brush. It works so well with this. Absolutely dry. You'll see it's, oh my god. Again, that's one swatch with that. I'll go over a second pass like I have been with the others. It's full pigmentation with this beauty. It's stunning. Absolutely stunning. Taylor, you gorgeous girl. You did a brilliant job with this. So gorgeous. Oh my gosh. When I die, I want this on my eyes. The fluffier brush definitely picks up quite a bit of powder with this one. I prefer definitely the flat brush with this shade. And I don't know if you can see that it is just satin. No glitter, no glitter. Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I don't want to wipe it off, but I will. That is definitely what I would consider ultraviolet, which is the color of the year. And people still aren't making purple palettes. What the heck? That's not cool. Messing with my emotions. The last one I have here that is not matte is Taaffeite. And this one is lip safe. And this is like a duochrome sort of taupey purple with a slight pink shift, I would say. It's interesting, very, very interesting. And again, this one's very pigmented. That's one swatch. Yeah, it's definitely got like a purpley taupe to it, but there is like a shift of some sort of like red or pink in there. I'll have to look up the Taaffeite stone and see if this is what it looks like. Because a lot of these are gemstones, and I've never seen Taaffeite, so maybe that's what it looks like. So coming in with a flat brush swatch, this is how I used it on my eyes today. This one again has zero trouble performing. And the fluffy brush works really well in this instance as well. It really is just such a unique color, and I'm not sure if it's going to pick up on camera the way it does in person. I've never quite seen a shade like this. It kind of reminds me of the Kat Von D Studded Kiss lipstick I have in Sanctuary. It's same sort of purple nude tone to it. Okay, now I have two matte shades. This is Marigold Lip Safe. And this is like a true mustard shade, as you can see. I've really been digging mustard shades, like really warm tones. This like needs no help. That's one swatch, two swatches. Now the mattes are very, very pigmented and very powdery, so I'm not sure if you'll be able to tell that just me putting my finger in there has dug up a tiny bit of powder. And if I were to take a brush and just go like that, that's what happens. That's for me just tapping, right? So you have to be very careful, okay? Very careful. Definitely no swirling or digging your brush in there is what I'm trying to say. So we will take the flat brush and the fluffy brush. The fluffy brush is obviously going to sheer it out more, kind of like a crease brush would, because this has more fluff to kind of buff it in. Whereas the flat brush and the finger is just going to kind of pat it on and make it more opaque, if that makes sense. And the last shade is Pear, which is not lip safe. And this is definitely like the shade of a pear. It's kind of a warm olive sort of color. It's like a greenish yellow olive, yeah. This one feels a little drier than Marigold. And I actually did have to swipe a little bit more, so it's not quite as pigmented with me finger swatching, but it's definitely still as pigmented on the eye. And there it is with a flat brush. And with the fluffy brush. So all of these colors perform very well. I'm very pleased with all of them. One thing, just one minor thing I want to point out is that these pans are not quite filled to the top. If you can see that, there's like a little space left on all of them. I'd say Quartz is probably the one that's filled the most, so let me dig that one back out and compare. Like that. You can see how this one's higher up than, say, this one. And it's just a small thing, and it doesn't bother me, but I know that it would bother some people to know that they're not getting pans that are filled all the way to the top. You have to remember that these are hand poured, so I think discrepancies are probably going to happen from pan to pan, and it's no big deal. But I think it was worth me mentioning that in case that is something that's going to bother some of you out there. They are, like I said, standard 26mm pans, but if they're not quite filled to the top, then I can understand how some of you might feel like they're not a full size. Just thought I would point that out. So yeah, that's it. I really, really enjoyed my experience with these eyeshadows. Would definitely recommend them to anyone who has had interest in Igneous Cosmetics, because they have so many different colors to choose from, so many different finishes. and they have great customer service. She emailed me right after I had placed my order and asked me what I wanted on the custom palette, like what color and everything, so that was great. So that's about it for this. I post Mondays and Fridays here on this channel, usually in the afternoon Eastern time. If you have any other questions about my experience with Igneous Cosmetics, just let me know down below and I'll get back to you. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful day and I'll see you next time. Bye guys!